Tonight on our news, a meeting of nations. Prime Minister Philip Davis prepares for dialogue with leaders from more than 50 countries in the Commonwealth. The story of a family living in a school bus now facing eviction. Plus the latest on an incarcerated man who died in prison on Sunday. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Prime Minister Philip Davis is in the Central African city of Kigali, Rwanda tonight, preparing to meet with leaders of more than 50 nations comprising the Commonwealth heads of government. This group of former British colonies is meeting for the first time in 4 years due to COVID. They typically meet every 2 years. This is also Davis's first CHOGM as Prime Minister. CHOGM was held once in the Bahamas back in 1985. And as the Prime Minister was settling into Kigali, Rwanda, the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture taking center stage at a youth forum there. He took the opportunity to highlight some Bahamian success stories as possible models for other Commonwealth countries to follow. Our Jerome Sawyer has more from Kigali.
Our common future rests on the shoulders of our youth.
His remarks here at the Commonwealth Youth Forum in Kigali in lockstep with the theme, Taking Charge of Your Future. Hundreds of delegates from 54 Commonwealth nations learned from Youth, Sports and Culture Minister Mario Boleg of the Bahamas government's emphasis and dedicated resources to youth. In the minister's words, an indispensable resource.
My country recognizes this and has taken a deliberate approach to ensure millennials hold key positions in our administration. We have also made many of our initiatives youth-based and seek to include them in the decision-making process and even on government boards.
Next came the success stories of businesses owned by young Bahamians, models for success. Braun, a multinational, multi-solution venture with a majority female staff averaging 29 years old. And Service Tank, a mobile application connecting organizations with volunteers for community programs. But why these two?
They were the ones that we felt could be of a model or blueprint that some of the persons in the Commonwealth can follow.
In the audience Monday, 2 Bahamian delegates alongside officials and representatives from over 50 countries.
Opportunities like this give the youth the opportunity to understand that their voices do matter, that their concerns are valid, and that they are pretty much the future of our countries.
This particular youth forum is ahead of a series of meetings on women's issues and business. All of this as we get ready for what I call the big show, or the meeting of conference heads or leaders of CHOGM. But this particular youth forum is important because it simply sets the right tone for the future of this League of Nations, which meet once every 2 years. You see, as future leaders, these millennials and Gen Z get an opportunity to put forth their positions on answers to problems that face us today and could potentially face them tomorrow. For now, in Kigali, Rwanda, I'm Jerome Sawyer for Our News.
Thanks, Jerome. Well, after nearly half of the court reporters on New Providence called in sick last week, impacting proceedings at several courts, Chief Justice Sir Brian Moree is addressing concerns their jobs are on the line thanks to enhancements to the judiciary's digital recording system. Moree sat down with our Jasmine Brown for this exclusive report.
This is not going to make our court reporters redundant.
Sir Brian weighed in on the matter after more than a dozen court reporters did not report to work last week. They were reportedly concerned their jobs are in jeopardy now that the judiciary is set to launch a talk-to-text feature as a component of its digital recording system. But Sir Brian says nothing could be further from the truth.
The actual algorithms that are used in the software have a component of what's called AI, which is artificial intelligence. And the back side of the software turns the speech into text within a period of somewhere around 7 to 8 minutes. I want to make this point very clear. This is not either or. In fact, properly understood, this digital recording system that we are installing and launching is actually going to complement the work of our court reporters. And I think once they see how it works and they become exposed to it, they will see that it actually is going to make their job easier.
A digital recording system was first installed in courts 5 years ago thanks to assistance from the U.S. Embassy. Today, more than 30 magistrates in Supreme Courts in New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Abaco are outfitted with the system. A soft launch of the newest talk-to-text feature will be launched on June 27th.
That's going to be a rollout over a period of probably 3 to 4 months, but we've done an awful lot of work on that during the last 4 or 5 months. So that's going to allow us to be much more productive.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
More remote courts are needed for family islands where case volumes are seeing an increase. That's according to the Chief Justice.
We service all of our family islands except Abaco and Grand Bahama with magistrates who go on circuit. And that is that they travel from Nassau to these various islands. And they conduct court in these islands for 4 or 5 days, depending upon the volume of work. Now, this circuit system has been going on a long time, and it is not where we should be in 2022.
The Chief Justice says the current system of circulating magistrates up to 3 times a year to certain islands is a costly venture. Sir Brian says plans are underway to set up the spaces and technology needed to have magistrates hear cases from Nassau in at least 6 different family islands, including Eleuthera, Exuma, Cat Island, Bimini, and the Berry Islands. He says the goal is to increase access to justice for all Bahamians, no matter which island they live on.
We are now looking at establishing small remote courts in 5 or 6 of the larger islands outside of Abaco and Grand Bahama, where we will be able to conduct at the magistrate's court level proceedings on a monthly basis remotely.
A woman living in a school bus is now facing eviction. Jared Higgs has the story in a moment. But first, it seems like there's a mix of weather conditions ahead for us this week. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with the latest conditions. Good evening, Greg.
Thanks and welcome everybody for your first look at weather on this humid Monday evening. Temperatures in the mid-80s, 84 outside our studios under partly cloudy skies. The winds are out of the north-northeast at 6 miles per hour. It's still kind of light out there, but those feels like temperature factoring in the humidity. Very, very warm, 92 degrees on the outside. Satellite view, we have a frontal boundary across the northwest Bahamas, generating some pockets of isolated showers and thunderstorms across that area. We also have some high-level clouds moving across the central and southeast Bahamas. So filtered sunshine today, allowing temperatures to get up into the upper 80s to near the 90-degree mark, and your feels-like temperature with the humidity still feeling very close to the triple digits. We'll do that one more time tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, the latest on the death of an inmate. The National Security Minister speaks.
Plus, coming up in Sports for tonight, Shawnee Miller-Weebo and Stevie Gardner all doing well in France. We'll give you details on that. We'll also tell you about our junior boys basketball team as they play at the Central Basket. That's all coming up in sports.
And later, a family living in a bus faces eviction even after upgrades. We have the details when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamika.
New details after an inmate died at the prison Sunday. National Security Minister Wayne Monroe says he was actually at the Bahamas Department of Corrections attending a service when the incident occurred.
At that service, Commissioner Clare remarked about the unpredictability of life with the senior immigration officer who had died. We left that service at about 12, I would say. And within an hour, Commissioner Clare called me to say that the inmate was found unresponsive on a bed in one of the medium security dorms. Foul play isn't suspected at this moment, but of course there'll have to be an autopsy before final determination is made.
In other news, our Bahamian track stars shine bright at a Diamond League meet in Paris. Meanwhile, junior boys hoops team still in play in Puerto Rico. Here's Marcellus Hall.
All right, thanks a lot, Christina, and welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Shawnee Miller-Weibo and Stevie Gardner getting their Diamond League seasons off to a great start this past weekend. Turns out there was another surprise performance there as well. Let's take a look. We did have a number of athletes in competition this past weekend in track and field. This day at a Diamond League meet in Wanda, France, just outside of Paris. First of all, Shawnee Miller-Weibo competing in the women's 400 meters. She comes through in a good time here, just a little over 50 seconds to take her victory. A good performance there for Shawnee Miller-Weibo, starting off the Diamond League competition with a win. Meanwhile, Stephen Gardner also starting off his Diamond League season with a victory here as well. 44.21 his time, able to collect first place there on the men's side. Good strong performance there for Stephen Gardner, able to outlast the rest of the field. And as far as the women's 100-meter hurdles, how about Devon Charlton? A season's best time here in the 100-meter hurdles, crossing the line in second place for her. A great start to her Diamond League season, and certainly beholds well in terms of her going the rest of the way, especially heading into the World Championships, which are coming up later on next month. And that is your look at sports here on this Monday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you, Christina. It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
When our news comes back from the break, the story of a family living in a bus now facing eviction. Plus, the deadline to vacate winds down as squatters on Crown land off Carmichael have 12 days to leave. And later, a look at temperatures and conditions for the rest of the week in your 5-day forecast. Stay with us.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamik.
This is our news. Welcome back. A woman living in a school bus with several relatives and facing eviction takes us inside her home. The woman has upgraded the bus to make it livable, but there's no doubt she's still living in poverty. Jared Higgs takes a closer look.
You think I want to have my kid living in a bus? But I can't do no any better.
A 30-year-old mother of one is facing eviction, and she's afraid that she'll be in a worse position after government officials have promised to help her.
I just been to social service last month, and they told me I have to wait because they have appointments, they have people who want monthly, they have to deal with. It doesn't make any sense sending social service because social service isn't no sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Back in November, the woman bought 2 school buses for $400 and paid a record to put them on the property where we found her, just off Carmichael Road. Before that, she and her family lived in a pallet structure.
This is a huge upgrade from there.
Starting as just a shell, the bus now includes a fridge, hot plate, solar panels, a generator that runs at night, and a fireplace outside where hot water is heated. A built-up wooden frame on the outside represents plans to add a bathroom. A parakeet in a cage entertains the children, and so does a Wi-Fi box. Meanwhile, fuel for the generator is $25 per day, which lasts from about 8 p.m. to 6 a.m.
At first, we started off with nothing. It was rough, so we had to upgrade for the kids. But solar panel, drop cords, little solar lights, battery-operated fans. Yeah, whatever to make it through the day.
I spoke to the mother of one in the school bus home just a short while after National Security Minister Wayne Munro alerted her that she couldn't stay on the line just off Carmichael Road. The woman works as a space cleaner for $240 per week, so her financial situation is dire. Her adult sister lives with her, but doesn't work. Her 61-year-old father lives in another school bus not far from her, but he also doesn't work. Another sister lives in a neighboring trailer. The woman's living conditions are difficult in many ways, but she isn't confident that she is better off relying on the government.
We need help. Just help the people instead of trying to yuck them up and throw them on the street. What you could do, yuck me up and put them on the street to my baby? Wow.
Government has been reviewing the issue of squatters on Crown land, with Minister of Public Works Alfred Sayers acknowledging that there is a human element to the issue. Challenging economic conditions in New Providence have resulted in people, like this single mother, having to make do with what they have. She tells me what she wants for her daughter.
Like a better everybody wants a better living. That's it. A better lifestyle. Not too rough. That's everybody want better for their job. So that's just about it.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Thanks, Jared. Well, our news caught up with National Security Minister Wayne Munro to get more information about that family and concerns over squatters on Crown land. Marlena Leonard reports.
With 12 days left for squatters on Crown land off Carmichael to vacate, National Security Minister Wayne Munro tells Our News he has made efforts to help the family found living in a school bus.
I've already advised social services of them. It will be for them to seek social service assistance. You cannot force people to get help. It will be available. If they take it up, they take it up. If they do not take it up, they will not take it up. But they, like all other persons trespassing, will have to move.
Last week, Munro toured an area off Carmichael Road where over 500 acres of protected trees had been illegally deforested and had become home to squatters. Munro told those residing there they had 14 days to vacate the land. Munro also working to explain the difference between the government's response to Crown land squatters versus other shantytowns, for critics pointing to disproportionate action by the government.
Crown land belongs to the government. Private land belongs to private homeowners. If you permit people to squat on your property, after 12 years they will own it. That's what the laws of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas says. Shantytowns, as I'm made to understand, are on leased land by private homeowners. The issue that the government has with shantytowns is illegal buildings contrary to the relevant laws.
And this isn't an isolated case. Munro indicates there are more Crown land trespassing cases currently being assessed in the capital and other islands.
There are a number of sites that were the subject of intelligence. Another 2 sites in New Providence, sites in Andros, Abaco, and Grand Bahama. I'll await advice from the professionals as to how we execute when we execute. But it would be wise for people not to be there when we come to execute.
One aspect Munro is looking forward to is the development of the Bahamas Wildlife Enforcement Network, or BWEN, which he anticipates will have a stronger impact against those who intend to take advantage of the Bahamian ecosystem.
We do intend to bring robust means to enforcement, because worldwide we see that environmental crime is big and sometimes entered into by organized crime. And so if you, as I say, if you're doing it, you have fair warning to stop it.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard.
Still to come on Our News, find out if you need to take those umbrellas with you this week. Greg is back in the Weather Center with your extended forecast after this.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Salute.
Welcome back to Our News. In case you were wondering, yes, there's more rain ahead. Just how much? Well, Greg is back in the Weather Center with a few answers.
Thanks, everybody. Welcome back for your second look at weather. The tropics remaining quiet. We have a couple of features in place, strong upper level shear, and also we have some Saharan dust moving across. Both of those will continue to inhibit any tropical development over the next couple of days. So it's going to remain quiet in the tropics. And of course, some of that Saharan dust should get in here sometime by the middle of the week. So if you have any respiratory ailments, make sure you take the necessary precautions. Satellite view, frontal boundary to the north, drifting across the northwest Bahamas, should move into the central Bahamas tonight through tomorrow and stall, eventually dissipating, but it will continue to spark a few showers and some isolated thunderstorms across portions of the Bahamas. The tropics remaining quiet. We have a couple of tropical waves, one off the African coast, another one approaching the Leeward Islands, and one just moving near Central America. Boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight. Small craft use some caution. Your winds will be picking up tonight through tomorrow. Northeasterly at 15 knots. They will be gusting a higher time. Seas running 3 to 5 feet. Low tide will be at 8 or 9 tonight. For the southeast Bahamas, east to southeast flow at 10 to 15 knots. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your 7-day forecast over the next couple of days, we expect some more showers tomorrow as that frontal boundary stalls across the central Bahamas, but behind that high pressure will build in. Temperatures will be approaching the 90-degree mark and your field side temperature during the daytime hours approaching the triple digits. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe evening, everybody.
Thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.